Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new podcast series that we at DTG are calling Power Down. I'm one of the co hosts, Ash, and I'm joined today by Nathan and Mark.
Ew. That's the part where we jump in and say hello, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it is.
I was going to
Hi.
say, guess which one's Mark and which one's Nathan, for those who don't know.
Oh, my.
Oh, yeah, that could be really interesting. Yeah, I'm Nathan. Hello.
Hey, I'm not being Mark. Don't do this to me. I've got hair.
Hey, fuck you, man.
So, today is quite special because it marks the start of a new podcast series that we're doing, and today's topic is the PlayStation 1.
Very
and I know
timely
that
chosen.
I know we all have some very fond memories of this console.
That's why we were chosen.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I mean, I was chosen because I happened to be free.
I assumed it's because you were the Highlander and there can be only one.
There is that as well, yes.
I think you were chosen because of the three of us, we're the ones, A, old enough to have remembered the PlayStation 1 more fondly than most, and we actually all owned it. I don't know if the others actually owned their own.
I'm not sure.
Finn didn't. His first one was the PlayStation 2.
Exactly.
I mean, within eyesight of me now are two of the PS1s, the small white version that they
Yes.
did. In, 2000 and something?
Oh, you mean the
the
really
PlayStation
small, slim,
Slims.
curvy one?
Yeah, the white one. Where
I
they
had
just
that.
Yeah, I have two of them. One of them's going to get hollowed out and have a Raspberry Pi put into it.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yep.
Fun fact, not fun fact, I don't know if it's fun at all, but I lost my power cable for my slim PS1 in my youth. I say in my
Oh,
youth.
yeah.
It was around the time the PSP was a thing. So I noticed that the PSP charger cable fit into the power port on the slim PS1.
That's
Did it?
awesome.
Like, it's the exact same shape. So I put it
Oh,
in,
wow.
and it powered it on.
Oh no, I feel there's a bad end to this story though.
The bad end is that it wasn't giving enough power to actually read discs.
Oh.
You better believe I accessed that damn memory card.
That's all he could do. He could
That's
look fond at
exactly
his
all I
game
could
saves.
do. Yeah, I could do nothing more.
So, to start our topic, I'll give a quick summary of the PlayStation 1. So, according to Wikipedia, this is... So, the PlayStation, commonly known as the PS1, or its codename PSX, was a home video console developed and marketed by Sony Computer Entertainment. It was released on the 3rd of December 1994 in Japan, the 9th of September 1995 in North America. God, that's quite a gap. They got it a fair bit before the Americans.
The Japan guys. The Japan guys?
The Japan
They're called
The
the Japanese, Mark.
Yes, the Japanese. I apologise. The Japanese, they clearly had to do a bit of beta testing.
Of course. And the 29th of September 1995 in Europe, and the 15th of November 1995 in Australia. Oh, the poor Aussies got it last.
Which is weird when you consider their geographic location in comparison to Japan.
This
I
is
think
very true.
I think that's a common thing, if the Aussies getting everything last like that when it comes to technology. Most of the time.
It was the first PlayStation of its lineup, and is as a fifth generation console. The PlayStation primarily competed with the N64 and Sega Saturn. Would you say it competed with the N64?
Yeah, I'd say to a degree
Yeah.
it would.
Do you think?
The overlap wasn't really there when it came
Yeah.
to people who liked both, but I think because Nintendo 64 was big when it released, and the PlayStation was one of them things that had to get big over time, I
Yeah.
think initially Nintendo were ahead, and then it slowly took over as time went on,
Yeah,
and then it
okay.
became a one-upsmanship from there.
I mean, if you think back
Ah.
to sort of like the late 90s, as it were, when the PlayStation released, you're immediately going to start thinking about like GoldenEye and stuff like that anyway, aren't you?
I like
So-
how you said the late 90s when the PlayStation released, when we just heard it was 1994.
All right.
No.
Yeah, well, 1995, so the mid-90s.
Yeah,
But obviously,
there we go.
you know,
How
you're
old
talking
would we
about the
been? So,
overlap.
I think I would have been 6, so Nathan would have
Yeah,
been as
same.
well.
I'd have been the same.
So
Mark
Mark,
a
you'd have
little
been
older.
7, right?
I would have been, yeah.
Yeah, jeez.
Oh,
I remember getting
seven
it.
and a half.
I remember getting it when I was
Wow.
about 6 or 7 because my dad got it me.
Did you get like the original big silver box that it come in?
Honestly,
Do you
when it
remember-
comes to the box, I don't know. That's too long ago.
I remember the big silver box. It came with like a demo disc, and I think it had like Spyro and Crash, and I think it had Cooler World on. I
God,
think.
I remember that disc, but you're lucky because that's not what I started with. The first PS1 game I ever got with the console. If anyone else remembers this, you deserve a medal. Rebel Assault 2 Star Wars.
No,
It
can't
rings a
say I
bell.
do. The
It's
only Star
basically a
Wars
rail
game-
shooter, if you like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that'd
the
be
only,
why.
The only Star Wars game I remember from the PlayStation 1 was the Phantom Menace.
That came after, I imagine, because
Yeah.
Phantom
Yeah,
Menace came out in
but-
like 2001 or something, didn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So
That'd have
5
been a
years.
late PS1 game then.
Yeah.
So 5 years later, in July 2000, a redesigned slim version called the PS1 was released. The original grey console and named appropriately to avoid confusion with its successor, the PlayStation 2. So I think what they mean there is that this slim version came out like 5 years later. I'm pretty certain that I got a slim at one point when like my original PlayStation was on its like last legs.
Same.
I specifically remember getting my PS1 for Christmas, so it must have been Christmas 2000 or Christmas 2001. I'm not sure I had it the first year it was released.
Okay.
And I jumped up and down with joy, just shouting "Thank you, thank you, thank you" over and over again, because it was the first proper games console I had that was solely my own.
Yeah, because you've got two brothers, didn't you? So I bet you had to share everything.
Yeah, and then I used to trade. So I was like, okay, if you want to play on my PlayStation for half an hour, that's fine, but I get to read your copy of the Beano this week, kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, I
It's such a combination of new school and old school.
I know, right?
I was a bit different though, because I mean, first of all, if I remember right, the slim one was eventually called the PS1, but this time the word "one" was worded O-N-E rather than number. So I remember that, and I remember getting one, but I didn't buy it, or no one bought it me. I think it was handy down.
Oh wow!
From like I want to say stepbrother or something. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely got given one, and I remember having some games that I tried to run on the PS2 when I eventually got the PS2 that wouldn't run, and these were PS1 games, and I was like, oh, the discs are too damaged. And I was like, hang on, I put it in a PS1 and it worked.
Oh wow!
I was like, screw you, PS2. The PS1 still runs these games fine, man.
Yeah. PS2 was just like, these games are old, I don't want to touch these. I don't want them inside of me.
Oh god, I mean, we'll discuss the PS2 a bit more in like the next podcast series, but I just remember that stupid smoky red screen where you're unable to read discs.
There's so many things I want to say about the PS2 right now, but I can't.
No,
save them, Nathan.
Yes, that will
them.
Be in the next podcast.
I'm going to tickle their balls with it a bit.
What I decided that we were going to do today in regards to and what we're going to do with further podcasts is I think that we should we've all picked like 3 games, or in Nathan's concept, because we can't pick 3 game series that made the console for them, and that maybe a few happy memories.
Yeah, you asked me to pick 3 games, and I was like, they'd all be from the same franchise if I did that.
Yeah.
So let me guess. I'll make a rule. 7, 8, 9.
I don't know if I'd put 7 in there.
No, he wouldn't put 7 in. He wouldn't put 7 in there. It wasn't his favorite at the time.
I'd put 9 in there, 100%.
Oh, 9 is in there for me.
Yeah.
I mean, 9's my number 1.
Perfect.
Same.
Right. So, the reason we were all chosen is because we're supposed to have variety in our interests, and we've all gone for the same number 1. Great. Thanks, everybody.
Amazing. Well done.
Well, I mean, before we start, then, I mean, what about? Is there any features from the PlayStation 1 that you remember which you wish that were still on the current? Now, for me, I know it sounds a bit shitty, but I kind of like the aspect of it in being able to move about and stuff like that. I wish memory cards were still portable. Like, I know you can do the cloud and like put it online and all that sort of stuff, but there's a part of me that wishes that I could just like take it with me, just plug it in, boom, download, done.
I remember memory cards existing all the way up until the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And the early models of the 360, because the later models didn't have that. Mm-hmm. And I used to rely on them a lot, because that's how you could transfer your profile in those days as well. You can't do that on the PS1.
Yes.
I mean, I'm looking at the. I know I was still talking about PlayStation. We're looking over my Xbox 360 now. The memory card, 64 megabits.
Wow.
And I believe, wasn't it 8 megabits, the smallest ones?
Yeah, probably. I think the PlayStation ones were 8 megabit. There's a GTA 2 memory card somewhere behind me.
GTA 2, that is
in your PS1. Man cave of wonders.
It is indeed. It is a cave of wonders.
But when I eventually got to the point where I was getting used to the convenience of just cloud storage, online storage, and all I had to do was log on to my account on one console, and then I could log onto the same account on a different console, like today. And then you think back and you're like, normally I'd have to have like carried my memory card with me.
Yeah.
And it seemed so normal back then, but now I do realise that it is much more convenient, so I don't miss it, to be honest.
I mean, you know, it's normal.
I have nostalgia
and
for
convenient.
it. Yeah, I have
There is that.
nostalgia for it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't miss it. I don't want to do it today.
But again, it was such a normal thing that there was even like carry cases for your memory cards. Weren't
Yeah,
there? Like little
man.
plastic
Slots in
clip-around
the
cases.
PlayStation 2 game boxes for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember.
I remember breaking my PS1 discs trying to fit a memory card and a disc in it and get it closed.
God.
The plastic wasn't liking it.
No, I'm not surprised by that.
days.
I'm
So-
holding a PS1 game right now, actually.
Oh yeah.
I can look across. I can see 4 straight off the bat.
Okay. So what game are you currently holding, Nathan?
All right, well, it's got a story.
Don't they all?
But yeah, they do. Until recently, I would argue, of the three of us, the biggest PS1 collection.
Oh, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's no longer the case.
Yeah, well, you traded in, didn't you?
I
to
sold
PS5.
over half of them for the PS5.
The thing is, at the end of the day, like as wonderful as they are, if they're just sitting there gathering dust, if you can make money off them, why not?
Well, I can play them on the PC using emulate software, which I have done, but then I got to the
Yeah.
point where, like, I've played these games a million times, and
Yeah.
they're worth a lot of money now. I definitely made profit.
Yeah. of
Oh yeah, that's for
course.
sure. But do you know when you'd go to like the old like video rental stores? I'm not going to name drop any of them. There's a couple
Yes.
obviously in Wixton and stuff.
Yep.
And you could buy like their old stock for like
Yeah.
£2 or £3 a game. Oh man, can you imagine being able to pick up PlayStation games for £3 now? The
my
original PlayStation
God.
games.
When I was in college, which had only been about a little over 10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah,
Well, no, you 30. We're talking maybe 15, Nathan.
you've
Or
just
maybe
blown his mind.
Yeah.
I was in sixth form, so maybe it's more like 13, 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I was in college, there was a depot place. I
Yes.
don't know how you describe it. They just had technology. You trade it in, they sold it. There was a bunch of
Yeah.
PS1 games in there, and I found mint condition original Metal Gear Solid 1 for £2.
Oh my god.
Swooped that straight up. Still
Wait,
got it.
hang on. That wasn't from Fast Cash, was it?
It might have been.
Because I sold all my PS1 games to Fast Cash.
How long ago?
9-10 years. That's right.
I don't have your copy then.
No, that's okay. That would have been a very small world.
Yeah, so I was going to say the game I'm holding is Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo.
Because just adding extra words means it's another game.
That's what Capcom do with the Street Fighter series now. They just
Yeah.
add
I'm
more
well
words
aware.
to it.
Now, don't get me wrong. That game, like for Nathan, holds a lot of dear memories for me. But on a little like side story for the channel, it is a game that no person will play with Nathan on the channel because no one can beat him at it. Because before like sexy times, that was Nathan.
Yes, that was before I was a virgin. I had to play Puzzle Fighter to get by.
Yeah.
Before he felt the
He
touch
was
of a
like,
woman.
"Oh, Chung-Li."
So, my dad used to be the manager of a video box.
If you're American and you're listening, that's like the equivalent of Blockbuster.
I used to go there almost daily because it was within travel distance.
Yeah.
And because he was the manager, he let me rent anything out for one day for free.
Nice.
But it meant I could go there, rent it for one day, bring it back, and say, I want to rent this again, please, for one more day. And rinse, repeat. And it just became, now I can have it as long as I want, as long as I inform him daily, I'm taking this out for one more day.
Yeah, it's coming out of stock. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This was back when the Sega Mega Drive was, or Genesis if you're American. That was back when that was the big thing. That's the only console I owned. That's the first console I actually owned.
Yes.
Weirdly, I'm looking at one of those right now as well.
My dad handed that one down to me as well, because I think he had his own anyway. So I got things like Streets of Rage 2,
Zool.
the original Sonic games, Aladdin, stuff like that. And if there was any I really liked, when a birthday rolled around or Christmas, that's the one I asked for.
Aw.
I remember
sense.
asking for a Power Rangers game once because a friend of mine owned it and it was a side-scrolling beat-em-up.
I think I remember that.
So I asked for it for like a birthday or something, and I ended up getting the one-on-one fighter Power Rangers game,
Oh.
which has 6 fights in it, and then the game is over.
Do you know what? I know exactly what game it is you're talking about.
I just remember being really disappointed but not wanting to tell anyone because I was
Yeah.
really sad. But anyway, this isn't Mega Drive, this is PlayStation.
Yes.
When the PlayStation started coming around and my dad started getting PlayStation games in the video box, I started renting them because I'd just got one. And as soon as I tried Puzzle Fighter for the first time, that's the one I came back and just went every single day, I'm keeping this, I'm keeping this, I'm keeping this. So I played Puzzle Fighter, and those who don't know what Puzzle Fighter is, if you've played the PlayStation Classic, it's one of the games on there. It's just
Yes.
a chipified version of Street Fighter that is a puzzle game, similar to Tetris.
Yeah.
So I just became stupidly good at it to the point where I'm gonna reveal this on the channel now. I am 8th for speedrun world record on hard mode.
Wow.
You gotta up those numbers, dude.
I'm going to. I've only done one stream of it, and I got 8th. All right. I'm talking about my Twitch streams. I do speedruns of that game, and I'm going to carry on with it. And I was so close to 7th that I was so disappointed that I was so close to 7th.
Oh.
Number 7 could feel you breathing on the back of their neck, like, oh god, he's coming.
Yeah. The thing is, it's not a popular game, so there's not any like crazy times on the leaderboard unless you get to like the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I'm able to work my way through 10, 9, 8, and Super 7 now. The number 1 time is stupid, so I'm not even going to attempt to challenge that.
Oh, bless.
If you're asking for 3 PS1 games, that's my first.
Okay. So I'm going to go in descending order. So from number 3 for me was a fighting game called Destrager.
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
I know the title, I've never played it.
So Destrager, it was a 3D fighting game published by Koei and developed by Omegaforce in 1998. Destrager separates itself from other games by creating a rock, paper, scissors type of fighting system.
He's totally reading this from something.
I certainly am, yes.
Yeah, somebody made notes, Nathan.
Yes, someone was professional.
I'm Al Natural.
So the cool thing about it was the first fighting game where you could move about freely on the map, and it was a rock paper scissors based because you had up to like close combat, so you had like heavy attack, light attack, and super attack. But then also, if you had ranged combat, you all had magic spells that you could fire at each other. So it was like, honestly, it was kind of like, imagine Dragon Ball Z but for the PS1, but instead of the 2D fighter, it was 3D. Honestly,
yeah.
I mean, it gets a really bad rap because if you play against the AI, you can win instantly. Like, the AI can be tricked so easily, but when you played with people, you proper had to strategize on it. And the cool thing was, like, for example, if one of you casted a light attack and then one of you casted a heavy attack, the heavy attack always won. So that's what I mean. It was like a rock, paper, scissors type of deal. So you proper had to strategize. And again, if you flew magic at each other, if you did a light magic and then someone casted a heavy magic at you, the light magic disappeared. So it left you vulnerable. So honestly, I wish that I could play it. If I could find an emulator or something, I totally would.
I've just got it downloaded, friend. I've got it downloaded.
Oh, God, I think I just came.
It's not that kind of podcast.
Well, they can't see, so... I have played it, but I've played the demo, and I do remember enjoying it because it felt like I was a Dragon Ball Z character in a 3D PS1 game, but the problem with it is that I didn't know how to play, so I just button mashed. Yeah,
well, essentially that's what you do. Oh my God, like, so we are definitely doing that once we're allowed around everyone's house again. Oh, so excited. So come on then, Mark, what was your number 3 or number 1, whichever way you want to do it?
Oh man, Joe, because we've all mentioned Final Fantasy IX, I'm going to save that for now until we can have a proper discussion about it. So, like, my number 1, bit of a strange choice in a sense, but it's literally because it's my first proper experience of the PlayStation.
Okay, so this was what you popped your cherry to?
Pretty much, yeah, and it's Driver.
Now, what a classic!
I know, right? And I sort of picked up. I was trying basically. When we were doing the Tony Hawk stream, I was like, right, I'm going to get a copy of like one of the Tony Hawk's games to the original PlayStation and come up with the means of being able to record from that PlayStation. Because the PS5 wasn't a thing at the time, and I've never owned a PS3.
Of course.
So that wasn't going to happen. And with COVID, we're not going to be able to go somewhere to get it done. Yes. So I've got this little like magic box thing that you plug the component cable from the PlayStation into, and it upscales it to HDMI.
Wow.
Which means it can go into the capture card. We can record it. So I tested it with Driver, and the HDMI magic box of tricks works perfectly.
Wonderful.
But it ruined Driver for me.
Oh.
Because you have this like rosy tinted image of the graphics you experienced.
Yeah.
And the image seems to grow with you. It's always been the crispest, the cleanest graphics. I'm playing Driver on like on the TV in the man cave, so it's a 41-inch TV.
Nice.
Driver's definitely not designed for a screen that big. The draw distance of the game is tiny. Everything's clunky and angular.
Oh.
I was like, there's no saving it now. Unless someone's going to remake Driver, I can never play it again.
Oh, I might be getting it confused. Was Driver the game that was really famous for the tutorial that was really difficult to do?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yes.
Good. The hell was that?
It was one, wasn't it? Like the turn or something. There was one that no one could ever do, and I wish
the entire tutorial was set in an underground car park, so the supporting columns to the roof.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, you got to slalom between them. You've got to like do braking at a certain point and not hit the wall. And there's the J turn that gets everybody.
Yeah.
In my nightmares, I still hear the "Watch the paint, man."
The worst part about it is that it's a non-skippable tutorial.
Oh god, that's it. If you want to play story mode and not be limited to the first 2 maps in the game, you have to pass the tutorial.
Oh,
But it was also the first game that I played which had a video editor as part of it. So you could do your own chase movies and export them to your memory card for other people to watch back. Yeah.
Actually, now that you've said that, because you know how some demo discs back on the PS1, some were playable and some were not?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you just watch basically a trailer, if you like, a trailer of the game. Well, I had a Driver one that wasn't playable, and I was like, what's Driver about? And I hit it, and it was basically what you just described. It was a massive police chase that someone edited and then put on a memory card, or in this case, uploaded it to this disc, burned it to the disc.
Yeah.
So it was just a massive, literally about 20-minute long police chase, which was really, really cool.
That's amazing. And like going back to that, that's another fond memory of the PlayStation that I think we all have. Did anyone collect the PlayStation demo disc series that were numbered?
Yeah,
I was about to say as a side note, I miss demo discs.
If you guys want a nostalgia overload,
go for it.
Just go to YouTube and just search Cadicarus demo discs.
Okay.
Yeah. He does a video review of going through every single one to whatever it went up to.
Oh my god!
And he just like he plays the music from each one as well, and as soon as you hear it, you're like, oh my god, I remember this.
Yeah.
That is
There's
amazing.
so many games that you only discovered through a demo disc attached to a magazine. That, like, obviously, we're talking like very early days of the internet. There's no YouTube channels or people doing game reviews, and you can't readily access the information about games. So if you're not watching like, what is it, Jinx and stuff like that, Jinx TV.
And if you're not reading the reviews in the magazines,
that's it. Unless you're going to see the game on the shelf and think that looks interesting, pick it up and look at it. You can have zero idea what's out there.
I mean, obviously going back, like the one drawback. Now, I don't know if this is a popular opinion or not. Like, I am the sort of person where I will let graphics and stuff slide for a good story.
Of course.
And I feel like the problem, especially now with modern consoles, is like everyone wants realism, and like people are so focused on the visuals that I think that a lot of story-based things become very lackluster now. And also because of that, it also drives the prices up to redonkulous prices. You know, I remember being able to pick up a PlayStation 1 game between 15 to 30 quid, depending on what it was. You know, now you're talking... New. Yeah, exactly. And now you're talking... I mean, I think I just saw Assassin's Creed Valhalla for the PS5 for £100. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, that's probably one of the collector's editions.
Yeah, but still, again, 100 quid.
I mean, if you're talking AAA games for the PS5...
70.
Yeah, exactly.
For the base game.
Take Cyberpunk as an example, 70 quid.
Is that really 70 on PS5?
I think it is.
Could you imagine...
I mean, to be fair, they're only advertising the PS4 version currently, and you get the free upgrade to PS5.
Because I think it's 50.
I'm not sure, but I mean, like games like Overcooked and stuff like that, which you'd probably say are quite a childish game.
Yes,
they're still 40 quid.
Oh my god!
Well, I don't know about Overcooked. I think that probably never hit 40.
It's
35
on my
maybe.
No, it's part of the. So obviously, I bought a PS5 bundle.
Oh, were you talking about the PS5 version?
Yes, the
right.
PS5 version of Overcooked and the PS5 version of Planet Coaster were $39.99 each.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I know, right. I think they suffer from. I don't know if there's a word for this, but you know, like a perfume ad. You can't smell it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to advertising the PlayStation, if you see a video game being advertised on TV or the internet, you can't play it, but you can see it. You can still see it. So if the graphics look amazing, the casual fan will be like, I might look into that. You've got no idea how it plays, but they need to suck people in by the visuals, because that's all they can do. And the audio, I guess, as well. And they need good music and good visuals to bring people in. And because that's becoming a benchmark for the casual people, and it's how the way you advertise it, people expect it to be better and better as time goes on. So that's why it's an important aspect that needs working on. But this is why it's important that indie developers exist.
Yes.
There you go.
Most definitely.
We have our contrast. It's fine. Indie developers are thriving, especially on the PlayStation today.
PlayStation, like getting back to the PlayStation 1, like it didn't read DVDs. It did play CDs. I do remember that. You had to put the lid open, and it played music for you.
Do you know what? I missed that as well. I missed pressing the button and a hinged lid lifting.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like the satisfaction of just putting a disc in a slot and it pulls it in.
There is that, yeah.
So I like both.
Do you need help getting it in, Nathan?
Well, if it could be pulled in from the other side, that'd be nice. But that reminds me too much of the movie Teeth. So let's move on.
Oh my god.
I mean, to be fair, talking about obviously it becoming a media system, that's what, like, again, PlayStation 2, which we'll come on to.
Yes.
In a future episode. Well, if I aim right, I might do. It'd be a tricky shot, but I'm sure I can manage to do it.
Indeed.
It's cleaning the fins that's the problem.
I'll tell you what I miss. Please insert disc 2.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
The satisfaction.
Yeah, of finishing disc 1 and heading on to disc 2.
So, like, obviously, PlayStation games some of them had multiple discs, and it was like, now please insert.
Yeah.
So you don't turn it off, you open the lid and swap the discs over. But nowadays, if a game on, say, a PS4 or 5 comes with more than one disc, you think to yourself, ooh, how nostalgic. But then it just goes, please insert the data disc, so you can unload all the content onto the console, and then play the game exclusively from the first disc.
Yeah.
That's not quite as nostalgic.
No.
The first disc is there really to authorise the use of the data on the second.
Yeah, but the thing is, I wouldn't want that today.
No.
Because on the Xbox 360, there's a game called Star Ocean 4, The Last Hope.
Yeah.
It had 3 discs. And this isn't going to be the only example, I'm sure, but this is the one I remember. It had 3 discs, and the game was split up into 3. And so when you play through the game so far, it goes, okay, now you're on the next bit, insert disc 2. If you want to backtrack to where you used to go, you have to put the disc 1 back in again.
Oh, no.
Swap back and forth, depending on what quest you want to do.
That's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, so I don't miss it today, because with the open world nature of video games, that's how it'd have to be.
Yeah, but, I mean, I raised the point, like, let's talk Final Fantasies, for example. You know, like, again, they had great storytelling. Like, the graphics might not have been the shiz, but... You know, for example,
at the time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
especially
but what I'm saying is, like, take number 7 for example. On disc 2, you can access all the things that were on disc 1. You know, they didn't sacrifice
the locations, but not the cutscenes or the FMV.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
there's a rumor that you can get to the FMV on the other discs with cheating glitches, but we'll not go there.
Yeah, but again, what I'm saying is, like, they didn't sacrifice, like, story and content for space.
No.
So I do wish sometimes, like, developers would just, you know, and I know people want crisp and all this sort of stuff, but if I find a game that's fun and it's polygon based, I don't give a fuck that it's not great graphics and all this sort of shit. You know, I mean, I remember Cooler World. Do anyone remember Cooler World on the PS1? The beach ball game?
I know what it is. It's the beach ball and the 3D maze.
Yes, and the puzzles and all that sort of stuff.
Is this your number 2?
No, this isn't my number 2, but this is the point I'm saying. Like, the graphics on that were absolutely fucking diabolical. But,
I don't remember.
But the point is that it was such a fun game that I couldn't put it down, and it looked terrible.
I put it down because I remember it being hard as dicks.
But
what's your number 2 then, Ashley? Just to segue back to PS1.
My number 2... And this is going to be a bit of a shocker, I think, to the pair of you, but it's because I'm a massive, massive fan. For me, number 2 is the original Digimon World.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I'm having Kim Wilde flashbacks.
I'm having flashbacks of the Digimon pooing everywhere.
Yes. So Digimon World was a video game by Bandai on the PlayStation released in 1999. About Digimon virtual pets, it was followed by various sequels for the PlayStation and other platforms. The story focused on a human brought to File City on File Island by Digimon to save the island. Digimon have been losing their memories and becoming feral, and the city has fallen into disarray. The goal was for the player, who is represented by an unnamed young boy, was to save the island by helping the Digimon recover their memory and return to the city.
The classic amnesia angle.
Oh, yes.
Japan loves it.
I loved Digimon World on the PlayStation 1. It was, I mean, I personally preferred Digimon to Pokemon. I watched them both, but I always preferred Digimon more. And I know, like, at the time it had the comparisons, and it was never ever going to beat Pokemon with how successful Pokemon was.
Thing is, I loved the Digimon show, but I couldn't get on with the game.
Oh,
No.
I loved the game because it was terrible. I kind of loved it because again I was looking at it going, okay, yeah, it's oh god, how would you describe it by today's example?
Dated.
No, it was it was like a virtual pets game. So you
Yeah,
had to.
that's
you
what I
had
didn't
to
like
raise,
about it.
Yeah, you had to raise them and feed them properly and train them and toilet them, and the only thing about it was like the evolutionary chains did not follow whatsoever. Like you could get a Devimon from an Angemon if you didn't do the right things. Like it didn't follow whatsoever.
I've played Yu-Gi-Oh
But
games like that. They just
yeah,
don't just completely disobey all the official rules, but they were still fun to learn.
yes. So I mean, I remember completing it, and I remember just playing it for hours and hours on end, and it was an absolute grind, and it was quite punishing as a game that I remember. But again, I thought it was just amazing, and I mean, I know Pokemon had the Game Boy tie-ins, and they were great, but I was like, oh my god, it's 3D, and Pokemon never did anything like that at the time.
I mean, it took them. It was the late 2010s, really, when they decided to start moving towards 3D, wasn't it?
What was their first 3D?
Pokemon X and Y.
Yeah.
And even then, that wasn't properly 3D. It was like an isometric
No.
3D, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh, the 3D.
So, I mean, I suppose the thing sort of there, like obviously you're saying about how much of a grind the Digimon game was and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, back in the early days, you were only grinding for your own satisfaction in this.
Yeah.
Because unless someone was going to come around and play that game with you or watch you playing that game, you can't show anybody it because there's no online functionality. There's no sort of online battles or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't know any better.
Yeah, exactly. I specifically remember the old Smackdown games on on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Thinking once, how cool would it be if, like, as the rosters on the shows on TV change, they can add wrestlers, remove wrestlers, update factions and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And this is again before the internet. And even now, I feel like, all right, they add wrestlers as DLC and stuff to the newer games, but
Yeah.
they don't tend to keep the rosters up to date as they could do with the shows because money.
Yeah.
They can make
Not
money
only
by
that,
selling
like,
another game.
2021 that's just come out now, or whatever it is, you know that they've already started working on 2022 for next Christmas.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know, so
Half of the course, isn't it?
exactly. But I mean, just like, could you imagine if you're playing the game you've been playing, you sunk hours and hours into, I don't know, SmackDown versus Raw.
Yeah.
Well, wait, that's PS2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That one was
Let's
PS2,
just
yeah.
let's
So
just call it
you wanna
SmackDown
do-
2
So
instead.
there was SmackDown 2, Know Your
Shut
Role.
your mouth. Was it the Know Your Role?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
should
It
that-
was
the
Know
fact-
Your-
It was Smackdown, then it was Know Your Role. Only
Yeah.
two on PS1.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But
Yeah,
there
so
was
the-
also
yeah.
Warzone as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and there was also I can't think what it's called.
I think Warzone was on
it's the old
N64
War
as
is
well.
Raw branding.
Oh, okay.
I think it might have been, yeah.
Possibly. But yeah,
Was on
could you
both.
imagine if, like, you're playing SmackDown 2
Yeah.
and, you know, you sort of vaguely following what's going on TV, and all of a sudden a load of WCW wrestlers invade your game
I
who
mean,
were never present on your game.
that was that would have been
I
amazing.
mean, with DLC today, that could happen, but not then.
Yeah.
No.
But then, like, well, back then you buy a game and you got the game.
Yeah, that's true, yes.
You know.
The,
Now,
we go.
the closest I got
Now-
back in that sort of generation was when you had to have the original Grand Theft Auto disc to play
Yeah.
GTA London.
yeah.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
you
had
did.
to put the original GTA game in first, and then GTA 2 was an expansion pack. Sorry, GTA London was an expansion pack, where once GTA had loaded, or I might be getting either way. I think you had to put GTA London in to preload something and swap to the GTA disc to then actually be able to play.
But did that ever become standalone at any point?
It must have done
Because
since.
I played London, I didn't need to do any of that lark.
Yeah, but no, my London required the original Grand Theft Auto.
That's interesting then.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, and like I say, you bought a game back then, you got the game. Now you're buying a contract to buy the game.
Well,
Yeah.
no, you don't have
It's-
to buy the DLC if you don't want to. But yeah, I see what
No.
you're saying, because there's games that get made that are already designed to have DLC already on the way.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of examples, like Destiny obviously is a big example because that's the
But
point
games
of
as a
Destiny.
service.
Season
Yeah.
passes
But
and
what the games
Yeah.
I don't expect it are the sequels to the games I used to play, like Final Fantasy 15.
yeah,
The point of Final Fantasy 15 is the story. That's the point of the
Yeah.
game. That's why you play. That's one of the reasons you play an FF game. The storyline is
Yeah.
what you're following. So when it's
Yeah.
like, okay, now every character has their own individual backstory that unless you've got the season pass, tough luck.
yeah.
That's what I was like, no thanks.
And not only that, I mean, I'll take a special exception, given that they had the Royal Edition. They also had Season Pass Volume 2. You had to buy a second Season Pass to get the second season worth of episodes. Like, all I'm saying is, back then, you bought a game, you got the game.
Yeah.
So, Mark, let's go back to you then. So, oh no, we'll go back to Nathan, sorry.
Are we?
Number 2. Yeah. So, number 2 for you, Nathan.
Oh yeah, we're doing it in this order. See, I was
Yes.
struggling to pick something for a while. And I guess I just sort of landed on this one because how can I not include it? And I feel like if I don't, nobody else will. Spyro the Dragon.
Nice.
Yeah, fair.
I
fair.
always
So-
preferred Spyro over Crash.
Yeah.
I was having this conversation in one of my work group chats the other day, weirdly, with the new member of staff.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I really like Crash Bandicoot,
But it wasn't as punishing.
oh no, Crash Bandicoot was way harder than Spyro.
Yeah, that's my point.
yeah. I really like Crash Bandicoot, but it's extremely linear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crash is definitely on the rails.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point of it. It's by design, so whatever. But when you play Spyro, it's like, okay, open world is obviously not the word you'd use to describe it now, but back
No,
then, that's as close as
But
you
you
can
had
get.
choice in
You
what
could
order
literally
you
go
did
in any
things.
direction you wanted, and there's something to do in every corner of the map.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
how open
yeah.
world works now, just on a bigger scale.
Yes.
So it was almost like the perfect. I'm not a fan of open world games, but back then, because it was open world, but you could still explore everything within like half an hour to an hour. You could
Yeah.
you could explore the whole level in a short time. It
Yes.
kept my short attention span going, if you like. And then I'd move on to the next level, and it would be a different theme, and the same concept would exist, and there'd be something to find and collect everywhere throughout.
Yes.
Not to mention it was
Yeah,
all shiny
yeah.
and colourful, and you controlled a dragon and could breathe fire. I was
So,
sold.
in what order would you place them, Nathan?
Okay, here's a funny story. I played
Uh-oh.
them
God.
in reverse order.
You played 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. I think 3 might have been a gift.
Okay.
I assume it was, and that's my introduction to the series. I was like, oh, Spyro the Dragon, this is really cool. And then I found out there was another one, like a couple of years later, and it was called Gateway to Glimmer. If you live
Yeah.
in the UK, that's what it's called. If you live in America, it's called...
Ripto's Rage.
Ripto's Rage, that's the one. So I saw 2 existed, and it wasn't called 2 here, it was just called Gateway to Glimmer.
Yeah.
And my mum bought it me for a gift. I think it was an Easter present, which is weird.
Oh, wow.
Oh man, for Easter I just used to get Disney movies on VHS.
Oh, I just say to Mum, no chocolate, yeah? I just want Spyro, please. Spyro, that one. So I got
wow.
Spyro 2, and then I'm playing it, and I was like, it's just the same as 3, except the levels are different. And then I realised, well, after getting a bit older at this point, I realised I'd played 3, then 2. And I was like,
So
oh,
then
okay.
you were like,
1 must exist, where's that one?
yes.
Found it, played it. It was not as good because obviously the movements
Yeah.
are clunkier and whatever. But as I got older, I grew to appreciate it, knowing it was the first.
Yes.
Yeah, so there you go. Spyro the
Okay.
Dragon, I'm putting that right in there. And then it got terrible on the PS2.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. isn't it?
Yeah. When we get to the next podcast, episode 2 of Power
Yeah.
Down, and we're on the PS2, I'm going to shit all over it. Don't you worry about it.
I played a game of it, and I think it was the Game Boy Advance version where it swapped worlds with Crash.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
God.
can't remember what it was called,
I
but
bloody can.
yeah.
Oh, I think it's something like Spyro Orange
Oh, okay.
and Crash Purple.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
along
I know-
those
I know
lines.
them all
Trying to
too
cash
well,
in
and
on the
they're-
whole Pokemon thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Possibly. It was also just Naughty Dog and Insomniac joining forces,
Yeah.
which is cool. But yeah, they were awful games.
So we'll go to number 2 for Mark then.
Number 2 for me, just because of the novelty of being able to use a gun con, Die
Oh.
Hard.
Die Hard. Wait, Die Hard trilogy?
Hard.
The Die Hard trilogy, yes. Yeah, Die Hard trilogy.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Die Hard trilogy
one again
is-
recently.
Well, it is a Christmas film, and it is the right time of
Exactly.
year. And I don't care anybody who says otherwise, including Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
Your
Bruce.
entire film is set at a Christmas party. By default, it is a Christmas movie.
Thanks
Die
for the
Hard
movie,
2
Bruce, but
also
we'll take
set
it
at
from here.
Christmas. Yes.
Have you two seen the advent calendar that's going around on Facebook where it's Hans Gruber falling from Nakatomi Tower?
I believe you will have seen it on the basis that I was the one who shared it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have yet to see this.
Oh, mate, it looks
Every time you
amazing.
pull out a number, it's on a stick, and it means Hans Gruber fills one floor
Yeah.
closer to the Nakatomi Plaza.
See, so yeah,
But
Die Hard
the
trilogy.
Die Hard
Then.
trilogy. And the only thing is that even if you've got a working PS1, a
Yeah.
working copy of the Die Hard trilogy, and a working GunCon, you
Yeah.
are unable to play that game with the GunCon now unless you have a TV from the same era as your PlayStation.
Wow.
TVs are too good now for the GunCon. So the way the GunCon works
Oh,
is that when you pulled the trigger,
yeah.
it would image. There would be an image put on the screen by the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Obviously, in this instance, one of the people you're shooting at,
Yeah.
and between the frames, as it flickers on the 60 hertz, 50 hertz, whatever,
Yeah.
as it flickered on the TV, that would confirm whether or not it is a hit. Modern televisions don't have the gap needed in frames to enable the GunCon to pick up whether it's a hit or not. You can only play it with a controller.
Whereas
wow.
in the NES Duck Hunt, if you point your gun at a light bulb, you'll win every time.
Correct. Yes.
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah.
You know, Duck Hunt on the NES has the
I
gun.
do, yeah.
Just point it at a light bulb, and whenever a duck appears on screen, just press it and you'll hit it.
Now, you
Yep.
see, when I think of... I'm hoping that I've got my information right. When I think of shooting games, I think of Point Blank.
Yes.
Point Blank
yeah.
was good.
And if you're thinking
Yeah.
of, I mean, again, another one you can use the GunCon, but if you go to an arcade
Yeah.
where it has any shooting game,
Yeah.
you will notice that the TV looks dated. The screen in the
Yes.
cabinet looks dated. It's only within the last 2 years where a handheld, gun peripheral
Mm-hmm.
that works with PCs on new screens has been developed.
Wow.
Yep. And I don't remember any of the specifics of it, but all I'm thinking now is, can you please now remaster Die Hard trilogy so I can play it on my computer using one of these new light guns?
See, I assume you're talking about Die Hard 2, because that's the one where it was a rail shooter.
They both were, to be fair. In the Die Hard trilogy.
The first one wasn't, it was a third-person shooter.
Yeah, I know which one Nathan's on about. 'Cause I
You
used
probably
to play
still
it.
use the gun,
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know. But I know it was a
Yeah.
third-person shooter, whereas the second one was a rail shooter with a reticule on screen that you just moved around.
I'm getting it. They perhaps blur together because obviously I remember playing. I mean, even
Yeah.
Die Hard 3 was a driving game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
So
the
one was
trilogy,
third-person
yes.
shooter, 2 was a rail shooter, and 3 was a driver.
That would be it then. It's 2 that I'm thinking of, but obviously the entire trilogy as a whole
Yeah.
is, you basically got 3 games in one.
In the first Die Hard game in the trilogy, you actually hear him say, "Ho, ho, ho, I've got a machine gun."
Yes.
I remember.
But he,
Yeah.
he never says it in the movie, he just writes it.
Yes.
And he says it, "I've got a machine gun," then it's "ho, ho, ho." But in the
Yeah.
game, he goes, "Ho, ho, ho, I got a machine gun," when you pick a machine gun up.
I think it's time. We've gave our twos. I think it's time to discuss what we've all agreed.
Get
is
ready to
perhaps
say jinx.
The
Yeah.
best game on the PlayStation 1 was Final Fantasy 9.
Yes. Yeah, I agree completely. It's the first Final Fantasy game I ever 100%ed.
Well,
You didn't
did you
100%
100%
it,
it, Mark?
Because a side quest was only discovered in 2013.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. With the exception of a side quest in 2013. I
Hold
completely
up,
everything.
hold up. There's even something in there that me and Nathan have never done.
Well,
What's that?
I had a player's guide.
Hail
Yeah, the player
to the
guide
king.
sucks. Hold on, I want to talk about something real quick.
Go for it.
So when the player guide, the official one, released
Yeah.
at FF9, is
Yeah.
actually considered to be the worst player guide in video game history.
Oh, good God.
Really?
Don't
Yes.
ruin this memory for me, this accomplishment, Nathan.
This is why. It was about the time the internet was becoming more commonplace, year 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of it where it gives you some information in the book, and then it says, for further information, go on to playonline.com, or whatever the hell it was at the time.
I might
And
have to
then-
go and dig this book out. I know exactly where it is.
You should dig the book out, and you should see that it advertises this one website everywhere.
Oh,
For more
good
information
God.
on this, or for more specifics, check the website.
They added DLC to a book.
Yeah, they bloody well did, and it was the internet, and you had to get an account for this website. It probably didn't charge you, I don't know at the time, because it was 2000. But I've read
probably.
Ashley's one because he's got the same guide,
Yeah.
and all over the book. It's like check online, check online, check
Yeah.
online. And then when,
God.
like I think it even reveals the super bosses like Ozma and Hades.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely ruined Hades because I would have
but
had no clue otherwise.
Then it would have said, for more information on how to actually defeat the boss, check on the website.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks.
So, a little history. Released February 16th, 2000, the day before my 11th birthday.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
from now, I mean, I don't know if you class them as defunct, but Squaresoft originally, now obviously Square Enix. Final
just
Fantasy
merged and
IX.
renamed.
Yeah, Final Fantasy IX was released to critical acclaim and is often considered one of the greatest video games of all time. Often cited by critics and fans as one of the best Final Fantasy games, it holds the highest Metacritic score of the series. Final Fantasy IX was commercially successful, selling more than 5.5 million copies on the PlayStation by March 2016. It was released in 2010 as a PS1 classic on the PlayStation Store. This version was compatible with PlayStation 3, PlayStation Portable, and Vita. Support arrived in 2012. Ports featuring minor gameplay and graphical enhancement were released for various other platforms in the late 2010s. And then obviously we've had like the current ones on the PlayStation 4s.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
obviously it was a financial success at 5.5 million, but that's still half of the amount of copies that I think 7 sold at the time. Obviously 7's probably sold more in the meantime, but 7 sold double
yeah,
what 9 sold. So to them, it wasn't the success that they knew they could attain.
yes.
Which is
Well, I
why
suppose the thing
to
there
them
is that-
9 was considered something of not quite a success.
yeah. But I think 9 ignited a lot of interest. Like for those that didn't have an experience of Final Fantasy, playing FF9 ignited an interest, and the fact that then the 2 previous games were still readily accessible. All you're doing then is adding to their sales. But I mean, talking about stuff like that, like they kept making PlayStation 1 games until a year before the debut of the PS3.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like they
Especially
support
the
their
sport
basic,
games.
yeah. So a lot of developers supported the PS1 through the entire lifespan of the PS2.
Yeah.
See, I feel like they do that because they started developing for that console, and it's got the higher player base at the time because it's been out longer.
Yeah,
But also, there's a chance that they do it because they release a game on both sometimes, don't they? PS1 and PS2
true.
versions.
I mean, that's happening now. We're seeing it now with the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox
it's been
Series
happening
X.
forever, yeah.
And now a lot of the games that are launching now are basically saying, okay, if you buy the previous generation version, you will get the upgrade to the current generation for free once available.
I mean, I remember FIFA 2009 coming out on the PlayStation 2 and 3 at the same time.
Yeah, it's
Just
crazy.
silly things like that, or maybe 2010 even.
So, I want to know, because Mark said he 100%ed this. Mark, did you ever get Hail to the King? Because I don't think even me and Nathan have been able to do that.
Well, hang on, what is it? Explain
Yeah,
that.
you're gonna have to.
Jump rope 1,000 times.
No.
No.
On the PlayStation 4
Perhaps-
version, there is a trophy for it now.
Anyone that has legitimately done it, I will genuinely suck you off, because
No one's gonna own up to it now.
I think 150 is the furthest I've ever got,
222.
and then
Jesus.
I got 222.
couldn't do it.
No,
Well, you
forget
got to
that.
think as well that like back on the original PlayStation generation we're talking about, trophies and achievements weren't a thing.
Well,
That is
yeah, but
So you'd had no reason to do it because you didn't even know what the reward was going to be.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that guide you two have got didn't tell you.
I'm gonna have to
I'm
fish that out.
Go online.
I'm pretty sure you got like the note saying that Hell to the King. You know, you've done. Who was your team then in FF9? Who was your? Don't really care about the others.
They're
I wanna
never
use
gonna.
these.
They're not gonna be the same. I reckon. All three of us are gonna be different.
Obviously, Zidane VV.
Yeah.
Who was the soldier boy?
Steiner.
Steiner, and then
There was Quinnar, Amaranth, Freya, Eco.
Freya. Freya's the main magic
Yeah.
You
user.
forgot
Yes.
Dagger actually.
And and Dagger, yes. Mine was definitely Zidane, Vivi, Freya, and personally, I was always torn between Quinnar and Eco. I didn't like Dagger. I thought she was too whiny for a princess.
Yeah, as princesses are
whiny.
wanting to be.
Yeah, it's just like,
Do you know the storyline? She's had her life ripped apart multiple times.
yeah, but again, she's like, oh my god, my mum's invading like neighboring nations, but she can't be bad. Like, bitch,
She's an
was
elephant.
evil.
She's bad. I'm surprised you put it as number 1 though, Mark, because I feel like you must have others that you had contending for the spot.
It's just one of those though that I proper enjoyed.
Okay.
And was sort of my entry to the series, and just sunk so much time into it. It was the whole ability of being able to like min max and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love the tactical aspect of it as well as just the story and the graphics.
So you like the fact that, because I enjoyed that as well. Like, it went back to a Final Fantasy where each person had a role.
Yes.
Not like in Final Fantasy VII, everyone can learn everything. So doesn't. Yeah, so it doesn't make them unique. Whereas obviously Zidane was your thief, Vivi was your black mage.
That's what I liked about 6 as well.
Yeah. Oh,
because Locke was your thief. Terra was the summoner. 6 is half and half because everyone can summon and everyone can learn magic if you put the time into it. But they had their default roles.
Yes. But
I'll tell you what's fun as well is I used to use some action replay cheats for the game on my my repeat playthroughs.
That's the other thing.
Action replay.
Action replay was great.
Yes, and books of cheat codes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to say, Die Hard had a stupid amount of cheat codes.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And a lot of them not useful, just funny.
I mean, there was something to do with the gravity, wasn't there? And I think there was a big head mode. So basically, stuff that you'd expect in GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Throwing it back to.
You can get screaming plants. If you shoot a plant, it screams.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Are there any PS1 games you guys played after the PS1 was been and gone? Like, say you're on PS2 and you discovered there was a PS1 game you didn't know existed.
Oh, that is a good one.
Because I do.
Go for it.
Star Ocean.
Yeah.
You know what, I keep hearing you talk about that. I have no knowledge of the game at all.
Oh, it's Star Ocean.
So, developed by Tri-Ace and Square Enix. The first one I played was 3, which is on the PS2.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was 3 because it doesn't have a number. It's just called Star Ocean Till the End of Time. I'm playing it and it's great. It's a real-time action JRPG.
Yeah.
The storyline was really cool as well. The graphics at the time was great because I think it was 2003, so the PS2 would have been new. Mm-hmm. And then I realised there was a Star Ocean 1 and 2. And the Star Ocean 1, I think, was on the SNES. The Star Ocean 2 was on the PlayStation 1. So I sought out the PlayStation 1 Star Ocean 2, and I found it on eBay. And I think it was like, I want to say 40 quid.
Jesus.
And it was being bidded on.
Yeah.
And it only had like 3 hours to go or something silly.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll try putting like 45 on and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think this might have been before the days of automatic bidding.
Yeah.
I put on 45, and like 10 minutes later, someone put 50 on there. And I was like, oh, I can't keep bidding for this because it's just going to get expensive. I can see that there's like 30 people watching it. It's not going to happen. I'll leave it. My dad was with me at the time because I think I was at his house using his PC.
Yeah.
And then it came time for me to leave, like half an hour later. So I left and I was like, oh, bye. And then he carried on bidding on it for me for my birthday.
Oh, bless him.
And he won it. And because when he gave it to me, he left the receipt in there from eBay, like the one that they include with it. It was 70.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Wow.
Jesus, he won it on 70 quid. So
Shocking.
I've kept it. I've still got it. That's going.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's going to have sentimental value to
Yeah,
it
that's
as
going.
well.
Yeah.
I've played it. It's long. It's good. It's a great game. I highly recommend the Star Ocean series. There are now 5 of them, but I don't recommend 5. The first one has been re-released though on, I think, the PS4 in America at least. It might be coming this way soon.
So I have 2 actually. Now that I've thought about it. First, the series Theme Park World, Theme Hospital, because I think at the time, not so much Theme Park World because that was aimed at kids, but Theme Hospital, it was a bit more intended for teens and stuff like that. I think so. I never appreciated it as a youngster, but then I think I went back to it and I'm like, I love those games now. Like I'm playing 2 Point Hospital and I just can't get enough of it. It's just stupidly addictive. And I mean, like I say, like with Theme Park World, building your own roller coasters and being able to ride them, even though the graphics were so shitty.
Yeah, they were.
There was just something really satisfying about being in first-person mode and going loop-to-loop in your roller coaster.
Until you black out and die.
Yeah.
Wasn't the narrator like really Irish or really Scottish or something like that?
Ah,
One of them.
see, you've got a new ride.
Yeah,
oh, no,
it
you've
was
researched a new ride.
That's what it was. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then the
Talking
next one for
constantly.
me, because it was an RPG, and I know Nathan parted with it recently, was The Legend of Dragoon.
Do you know, I played a demo version of that, and I just didn't get it. Just didn't understand it.
I mean, it was at least 80 hours long, at least.
I only ever beat the first disc, but I did really enjoy it. What I didn't like is the whole every single time you physically attack, there's a quick time event.
Yeah.
Because that's not to me. That's not strategy.
No, that's just
that comes down to it comes down to luck.
Yeah.
Either luck or, in a way, there's a bit of skill because there's a rhythmic timing to it if you can get it down.
Yeah.
But I don't play a turn-based RPG for that. That's just me.
No, most definitely not.
Which is also
it's 2 games in one, isn't it? In that sense.
Yeah.
If you like, yeah. That's one of the reasons I wasn't a big fan of the combat in Lost Odyssey. As much as I loved the game, I got a bit annoyed that I had to keep doing a quick time event with every physical attack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, do you have any?
Not so much that I rediscovered, but I was going to sort of expand on it because you're saying about Star Ocean and how much it means you wouldn't sell it kind of thing, and obviously Ashley just mentioned Team Hospital and stuff. But it's sort of opening up the other line of conversation of, are there any PlayStation games that even now you would not part with? They're in your possession, that's it. They're not going anywhere.
That we've not already mentioned.
Yeah, that we've not already mentioned.
Because Puzzle Fighter's one for me.
Yeah, which is understandable.
Evil Zone, which I still own.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yes.
Mine and... Oh, sorry, are you about to expand on that, Ash?
Well, I was just going to say, it was literally a one-on-one fighter, Mark, and it had one button, triangle. And literally, you just pressed a direction and triangle to do a different attack. That was it.
Yeah. Nice and simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just
played it is
stupidly addictive. And again, you just use one button. What's not to love?
Yeah. No, mine for me is The Italian Job. It being my favourite film, the moment they announced it was going to become a game, I think it's one of the only PlayStation games that I ever got on launch day. And I still have it. And I know it's going to be like Driver. I'll revisit it and I'll probably feel like I can't play it again because of graphics or whatever.
So dated, yeah.
Yeah, but just the fact that from as young as I can remember, I've loved The Italian Job, and being able to then actually be a part of it and play the game and do the car chase through Turin and everywhere, and sort of, the entire escape route, driving around the test track on top of the Fiat factory and everything. It was just, it was like everything that little me could have wanted.
You know.
So, there's a game I was going to bring up, but before I move on, I want to... Did anyone ever play Zero Divide?
No.
So it's a one-on-one fighting game, like Evil Zone, if you like.
Yep.
But you play as robots.
Okay.
And you could have like a scorpion robot, a spider robot, a whatever shape robot. There's all sorts of different robots. But the more damage you deal to your opponent, the more shards and scraps of metal fly off them and reveal the circuitry underneath for weak spots.
That sounds cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
I remember that. I really remember playing that at my friend's house. There's 2 of them, Zero Divide and Zero Divide 2.
Yeah.
They were a lot of fun to try and because you're playing defensively to protect certain body parts. If you don't want to punch with the left arm if that's exposed, because if they hit you at the same time, that's what they're going to damage.
Yeah.
So it made you sort of plan your attacks around what damage you'd taken as well. I've never seen a one-on-one fighter do that before.
Oh, okay.
The game I wanted to mention is the game that we all know, Metal Gear Solid 1.
Oh,
Hey.
yes.
A game I will never part with.
Do you know what? I parted with mine, and I'm so upset that I did.
I don't know any other way and method to play the original, and I'm
No.
not counting Twin Snakes on the GameCube.
I mean, they changed it.
Well, yeah, they changed too much in
Yeah.
my opinion, made it
Yeah.
seem more like an action movie rather than a serious video
Yeah.
game.
And
And the
this
voice
is now
acting's
when-
not as good in my opinion.
In the first scene alone, I think that you can either sneak past the guards, or I think there was a gun hidden somewhere at one point, and
There was a gun in the back of the truck near the beginning.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you didn't have to find it. It was just there, maybe.
Yeah. I collected it in my Can You Beat Metal Gear Solid by Only Crawling playthrough.
Yes.
Just to show it's a shameless plug.
Yeah, I think it's on 2,500 views. Chortle.
Yeah, why not? But yeah, Metal Gear is, again, going to be one of those special ones that's always got a place in my heart. And none of the sequels or spin-offs have ever sort of got me in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
Psycho Mantis reading your memory card. It's fucking genius.
Yeah,
don't get me
plugging
wrong,
your
I
controller
love
into
2 and
4 too.
3 and even 4.
Yeah, I do too.
The impact's
But
not quite the same.
No, definitely not.
And I mean, I know like number 3, for example, had like boob physics or something, where if you shook your controller,
That's
it made
4.
the chest. Oh, you know, like
It might have been in 4 because they had a 6-axis controller by then because it was PS3.
yeah. Oh no, I'm thinking of the turbo button, and I don't. You press that turbo button.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah, all of that.
He knew you were going to use it if you try and cheat with it.
Yeah.
You know the bit where you're on the elevator and the weight
Yeah.
exceeded the limit.
Oh,
I was playing that for the first time back in like year 2000.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the stealth soldiers, isn't it?
I'm like
Yes.
11 or 12 years old, and I'm playing this, and it's night.
Yeah.
And I go into the elevator and get the call, and Ottocon's like, "The stealth suits are gone. There's 4 of them. They're in there with you, Snake." And I shat myself. I was like, "What? No!" And then suddenly like 4 people attack you from nowhere on this small elevator.
Yeah.
It gave me like a claustrophobic vibe.
I mean, that's the other thing as well. The replayability of having either the infinite ammo bandana or the stealth suit changed how you went through things.
Yeah.
Not to mention who you call at certain points in the game as well.
Yeah.
dialogue.
Do you know what? That's the other. I think that's probably one of the most sensible anti-piracy things that was ever done as well. Look on the back of the CD case for Meryl's Codex frequency.
Can I just say, I rented the game first time I played it. I didn't get the original box. I was so
remember this
confused.
story. Nathan looking for the code for weeks.
Not to mention that in the game itself, you get given a CD case.
Yeah, and you're
as an
trying to
item.
spin it round and all sorts.
Yeah, I was looking
you?
for any method to actually examine it closer in the game, and you can't.
No. See, if you two really, really like Metal Gear Solid 1, I've got a book that was written by Anthony and Ashley Birch, and it is literally an in-depth analysis at Metal Gear Solid 1, and it was a fantastic read, and it was very, very funny. And I'd actually recommend anyone to read it if you were a massive fan of Metal Gear Solid 1.
Share a link in our Discord, which will also be linked below.
Yes.
That's how you do a plug.
Is that the graphic I made, by the way? Do you like it? You seeing it on
do.
screen right now? You
Yeah,
like
man.
it? Yeah.
I'm going to pretend that I know what you're talking about.
You'll know when you're watching this in the live premiere. Hi, guys.
Yes.
Can
Hey,
I get some
future
pogs in the
Ezzers.
chat?
Jump into our Discord server. Share some of your memories of the first generation PlayStation. What games made it for you? What would be your top 3? What games would you never part with under any circumstances? And join the conversation with us.
Oh, I do have one topic which I'd like to go over very, very quickly. Now, I know that what the answer is going to be, it's because of licensing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we're on the PlayStation 5 now.
We are indeed.
Why doesn't the library have PlayStation 1 choices, PlayStation 2 choices, PlayStation 3 choices?
I would have said because it's the library, but the PlayStation 3 had PS1 and 2. And even the PSP and Vita could have the PS1 and eventually the PS2 on it.
All I'm saying is if they were released, I know again licensing and defunct and stuff like that, and again maybe we can't get all of them, but why can't we play? And
then there's the argument of there's the PS4 method of take a PS2 title, upscale it to 1080p, add trophy support, and then charge it for £9 or £8 or whatever it is. That would be better than nothing.
Yeah.
But they did that for a few titles, maybe not even 20, and then they just stopped.
I imagine the sort of functionality and features and stuff that's going to eventually filter its way down to the PS5. But I think it being a new console, a lot of the launch is currently the next generation of gaming and very much looking forward rather than looking back.
Yeah. So we hope you've enjoyed the first episode of Power Down. It's been a lot of fun. Been a nice little trip down memory lane.
Hey.
Like Mark said, pop in our Discord, some of your memories of the PlayStation 1. And
let me know if you ever played Zero Divide.
Yeah, we'll put a poll up on the channel. It'll just be a nice simple yes or no to see just how unique Nathan is.
It's going to be
given
mostly
how
no.
young our fan base is, it's just going to be a string of no.
In fact, to be fair, it'll be yes, no, and what?
I imagine most of our audience are waiting for the PS4 one.
Yeah.
Well, no, next episode will be the PlayStation 2.
There was something that I wanted to say that was sort of rediscovered about the PS1, a feature that it had.
Oh, God.
Okay.
You might hate life when I to tell you this because you'll think how different things could have been.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Apparently
God.
this was written in small text on the manual of a PS1 memory card. How often did we read that?
Yeah.
If you delete a save on a memory card on a PS1,
Yeah, I've seen this.
if you then press all 4 shoulder buttons 3 times, it recovers it.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck this. Fuck the lot of you.
As long as
Jesus Christ. I've only ever accidentally deleted a save once. And that was Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX. And to be fair, actually, I'd like to add Tony Hawk to my best 3 somewhere. 2.5. There you go.
God.
But Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That should have been a fucking on-screen prompt.
Yeah, it should have been.
When you say delete, it should go, okay, if you change your mind, and tell you.
Why was it such a convoluted button combination as well?
Yeah.
Motherfuckers.
Anyway, Sony, you dickheads. Moving on.
Thanks for letting us know that like 20 years too late.
Yeah, so sorry.
Well, this has been Power Down. I've been Ash.
I continue to be Mark.
Yes, you said you were me earlier. I'm Nathan. This is me. I'm Nathan. I'm not bold.
Yet.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. We hope you've enjoyed this, and join us soon for episode 2, which will be the topic of the PlayStation 2.
It's going to be really easy for you to remember what episode topic is what up until you change consoles.
Indeed.
Oh, God, he's got a point. But then again, on episode 6, we'll go to Xbox, because then their naming convention doesn't make any sense anyway.
Exactly. Or is 6 going to then be moving on to the PSP?
Mm.
I'm a bit happy with
Find
that
out.
because I've actually owned every PlayStation console ever to date. So
Mark
The only one
poses
I
a
haven't
challenge.
owned is a PS3.
even I own that one.
Yeah, there you go.
Good night, everyone.
So long.
Thanks for listening.
Tip your waitress.
Bye. Okay, we are done.
Hey,
No, indeed.
I'm going to open this Dr. Pepper that's been sat next to me the entire fucking time.
You could have just said pause for a second, edit this out, and then opened it.
No, all good.